Hey, everybody, just a heads up, we're going to be all over the place. There's a ton of news going out. Bonehead Biden just signed another executive order. Not that he knows what he's doing, not that he's coherent. He's worried about touch the hair on my legs,
or ice cream.
And it's ridiculous. We're the laughing stock of the free world. But we're playing the hand we're dealt, and we're bracing for impact. If you like this kind of news, this content, please hit the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. Go over a few things we're going to cover.
Oh, we're just going to talk about the Office of Environmental Justice that was signed in. We're going to talk about how apparently there's two of them out there, even doing school buses, 66 million. We're talking 60 billion. I mean, we're just going to go over. I want to go over some of the, I know.
Race. It's all in the name of race.
Oh, it's all in the name of race, too.
And
also.
climate.
And climate.
There's the most ridiculous news coming out.
It is. It's crazy. And some
nuts.
of the comments that you guys have made, I also want to talk about self-directed RA, some immigration app. Oh, that is causing craziness at the border. And then, so yeah.
Yellen says sanctions may risk hegemony of the U.S. dollar. A little late on that one. We're talking about that one a year ago.
All right,
so
let's just dive in. Let's start with the Office Environmental.
Okay, the Office Environmental Justice. Is that right? Okay.
So first off, I want to give Nancy Thorpe a thank you, because she's the one that actually sent me a notification. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I missed it Friday. So apparently it was signed into an executive order Friday and just kind of slid under the radar, which is really funny if you go back and watch the video of Biden. He's like, poor guy, he's so out of it. He totters to the bench. He sits down, he goes, ooh, the table's hot. Ooh, the pen's hot. And then he goes to sign. But this Office Environmental Justice Executive Order is about what is going on environmentally, but they are pulling the race card. This is the interesting portion of this. They are saying, if you go look at it, they're saying it's going to affect, they're going to mainly, I guess, look at what's going on with the races, minorities, certain areas. They're even doing electronic vehicles for school buses, replacing water pipes. I mean, you name it.
Well, if you come out with a BS bill and you say, hey, it's for climate and to fight racism, then you're
votes.
in.
You get votes.
That's it. You're good.
Yep.
As long as we're going green.
Yep.
And you're not racist, we're good.
And this is a $66 million bill. But what I did not know is apparently EPA, which also has an Office Environmental Justice Program, which I did not know that. They have a $60 billion
with a B. So we've got a $60 million bill that's for, it looks like, a posse that goes and reports directly to the White House about the ESG comings and goings.
So they're going to base it on ESG, apparently, from what they said. And that's what they.
So Biden's setting up a $66 million ESG altar at the White House because all the cronies that are involved with the WEF, I can't say it too much because they'll ban me forever, worship ESGism. It's the new green god. Small g, and whoever worships him the most is that much closer to the hierarchy of everybody that's been indoctrinated by them. So, and that's essentially what seems to be going on with everything in the name of climate and
racism.
Race. All they said was race.
They said race. They did. They said race, minorities, and different things like that. They also said. So here was the thing that came up. So the EPA also has one, but that was a $60 billion. And that's also been recently too. That was in one of the reduction acts. What was the reduction acts? But anyway, they consolidated 3 different departments and now they have
Inflation Reduction Act.
It. And now they have a $60
that was
billion,
anything but.
I know. Now they have a $60 billion budget. But they also came up with, in this particular executive order, because they said it would be based on social credit, ESG, carbon footprint, all this kind of stuff. Man. And the question came up as I was reading through different articles and trying to do a little bit of research is, if you don't meet these requirements, can they seize your land? And that seemed to be the question over and over that was being asked with this particular executive order. And there was no definite answer, but if you did not, so they were saying, for example, if you were in a particular area and they deemed that this minority area needed such and such, that they could take eminent domain and take your land. That seemed to be a lot of the big concern as I was reading through this bill. So
we're effectively moving towards communism. It's the way capitalism usually ends through history. And this is just one more step. It's
It does seem to
one
be.
more thing. And I legitimately think Biden just doesn't really know. He, bless his heart. He doesn't know what he's done. He's just going along. He's telling them, they're telling him what to say, probably the CCP, and he's going along with it because that's what he's always done. Now, the important part
Of
G7.
Oh, well, we can go into that next. So I've got so many things to talk about. So you just name your.
Yeah, it's a ton of stuff.
I know. I was telling him, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like information overload. Well, one thing I want to hit on really quick before we go on, because this is regarding finances a little bit also. You got 3 big finance corporations and banks that have lost $60 billion just recently. And they're Schwab, State Street, and M&T. People have started pulling their funds like crazy from these institutions. And they're trying to say, oh no, we're okay, we're okay. And you guys pay attention to the First Republic. There's some stuff coming out next week. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I know they've been trying to like put that Band-Aid on that bank for a while. So we'll kind of see what happens.
In the first quarter, customers continued to move their money in search of high returns.
They did.
The deposit flight has been turbocharged by the collapse last month of the Silicon Valley Bank and 2 other U.S. lenders, with cash moving out of the bank accounts and at a pace not seen since the aftermath of 2008. We're going to see more banking problems as people wake up and realize, hey, these banks' reserves
They're not there.
They're not there. They're insolvent. You are an unsecured lender.
Yep.
Your money that you put in the bank is not your money more. It's the bank's money. Sorry, that's the way it is. It's weird. It's hard to imagine, but it's the truth.
Well, it's true. When you go to the bank and you ask to pull money out, and they look at you with a deer in the headlights, and they only can give you 20s. I mean, sorry, that's not sorry, but that's the fact.
Sorry, not sorry.
I say sorry a lot, as you said.
So,
but these are the ones I was talking about right here. They have suffered almost $60 billion in combined bank deposit withdrawals. Like a lot of the depositors have said, I don't trust this anymore. And they're literally pulling them out. And so when they're dealing with that and they're trying to come out and say, oh no, we're good. You guys just hang on. Even First Republic, they're trying to come out and tell everybody, all their depositors, you guys were still okay. We're still doing fine. And people are just still pulling. I read some articles about that today.
And you see people like Warren Buffett saying, hey, bank problems aren't over, but, normal people aren't going to be bothered by this. Keep your money in the bank.
My goodness, I laughed when you read that. I'm like, yeah,
all these, people that are so wealthy. Like, I can't remember what he's worth. 104 billion or no trillion. I don't know. He's one of the richest people on earth, and he's saying, no.
I think he's 4th.
Keep your money in the bank. Or he was 1.
He was 4th because I looked him up the other day. Yeah.
But guys, I'm not saying pull all your money out of the bank. You got to pay bills and everything. I'm just saying take some of that.
Don't put all your. No, I think the thing is, don't put all your money in one bank, and we've talked about this numerous times. Because if one goes down,
don't put all your money in anything.
Well, I'm getting ready to open up another one right now. We just talked about that, and actually, someone asked us a question on one of the things the other day. They said, "Would you prefer a federal credit union, or a credit union just in general, over just say a typical bank like whatever, just a bank? Would you prefer that?" Someone asked that, and I didn't know how to answer that because nowadays things are like different. So I didn't know how to answer that. It's all a risk, I think, at this point.
I think you should have at least 2, probably 3. I would like to have 5 different banks because if one fails, you don't want all your money in that bank. And we're going to see bank failures. There's a lot of people listening to me right now that it's never been that way before. That's never really happened. And they have recency bias. I experience that every day when I talk to people that don't know what's going on. You can tell they don't know what's going on. And they just blow it off as, my money's safe. It's in the bank. And money in the bank. How many times have you heard that? That's money in the bank. Well, yeah, that's the bank's money now. So take a little out. Put it in something hard. Precious metals, farmland. You guys know what I say all the time. Invest in your food 401k, your tool 401k, things that you absolutely have to have. We invest in a lot of resource companies. When I find a resource that has copper, silver, gold, lithium, uranium, and they actually have it, I buy some stock, not a bunch. I buy some because they're extremely devalued, and you've actually bought into that asset that we're going to need in the future, and you move on. Now, I'm not saying the price won't go down. I'm just saying don't have all your money in the bank. That's to me that's crazy. But
Well, I want to read some comments that we've had. So I went through the live chat. I love so you guys know your live chat. Sometimes you want to finish that, or you?
No, we go.
So I don't always get to see the comments that you guys say. So I go back and I read your comments, and I absolutely love them. But so I want to go back to this when we were talking about these layoffs. That I wish you guys would take a look. Go back to that live stream. I'll see if I can find that article again and maybe try to pin it in the post or article description again. But you guys go back and look every single day for 3 months that they have kept track of. Every single day. And sometimes it was twice a day. They were doing layoffs. And this is someone that's gone in and documented all these different layoffs. And so Paul Parker, thank you guys for responding. You said you used to flip with Open Door, which is one of the ones that's laid off like twice lately, a ton of employees, but you haven't seen a contract from them in months and months. And I think we're seeing that more and more, just like we're seeing, they said Open Door has actually, unfortunately, they're losing their employees down because it's a 30% decline. And then we were talking about self-checkouts. This is just kind of random. So you guys chime in, babe, if you want. This is just different things that we're talking about. We were talking about self-checkouts. And I was saying, man, every time I go to a store.
I'm worried about the audio.
Oh.
It's okay. I think we've got good audio.
Are we not on because we're not plugged in?
Well, I think it's going off the computer.
Oh, boy. We're winging it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll just go with it.
All right. Well, 6-2, which you comment a lot, and I love a lot of your comments. You said there's even self-checkouts only at thrift stores now. So all these different things. And then how do you say that? I never forget his name. I can't.
Nostradamus. Not Nostradamus.
I was going to say
That's
it the wrong
funny,
way.
by the way.
Someone wanted to actually buy your house with gold, which I think is so cool. I would love to hear that story of like how they approached your, how that all came about, because that's very unusual. Daniel said he's using silver to buy coffee now. He said it's taken a little bit to get used to, but he's really enjoying it. And I want to get a happy birthday to Neil, our moderator.
Neil Hahn, happy birthday, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know what you turn tomorrow, but it's Monday. So when we get this
He's
video
old.
out. No, he's not. He's young.
He's real old.
No, I'm going to say he's young. I'm going to say he's young. So happy birthday, Neil.
Happy
we want to
birthday.
say happy birthday.
I appreciate all my moderators. They're awesome.
So I want to talk about self-directed RAs for a minute.
Okay.
Unless there's something else you want to move on to, because I'm getting a lot of calls, and apparently I don't guess the information's getting out there a little bit about them. Or we want to move on to something else, because this is random all over the place.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
What do you want to talk about next?
Well, I mean, we talk about precious metals because, we're starting to see the precious metals price tick up. And as cool as that is, but through history, if you notice the price of precious metals going up, that means the currency's failing. That means people are starting to wake up and get into real money. And I think we'd be doing an injustice by not talking about precious metals.
Well, it's not necessarily precious metals. I just want to, because I had a gentleman contact us the other day, and he said, well, I'm only 58. There's nothing I can do with my IRA. And I wanted to tell him, yes, there is. You can roll it over to a self-directed IRA. You can do precious metals. You can do real estate. The other day, someone told me you can buy cattle, you can buy oil. So just don't think you're stuck because you have a particular IRA, 401k, and that you're still at that job and that you cannot do anything. At least just look for alternatives. That's all I'm saying. Call me. I'll be glad to help you. I'm not an expert. Don't have any affiliation with these companies. Don't get paid a dime. Just something I've learned from previous clients. So just don't think you're stuck and you can't do anything. There's always an option you possibly can roll it over. So that's what I just kind of wanted to mention, because I think a lot of people forget that. They don't realize that there's an option that you can roll it over.
And, taking advantage of that, just that power of doing what you want to with
Yeah.
your own money. You know, when you roll it over into a self-directed, you can self-direct how you want to do it.
Yeah, you can do
There's
real
a
estate.
lot of people that are going to be let down by 401ks, and I know some people can't get out of them, and you know it's a scam. Most people know that, but we've had a lot of people do it, and ever since I've started talking about it, they've done really well.
Even
and I'm
just
happy.
annuities. I'll tell you, also you can roll those over. So just don't think you're ever stuck. Just look for alternatives. If I can't find the answer, I'll call somebody and see if I can. But that's just an option that I think sometimes people forget, because I'll have people call me all the time. They're like, well, I'm stuck. I'm like, no, you're not. You got options.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. So it's up to you if you want to do it or
And
not.
they don't want you to know about this.
No, because
your
they don't get paid
financial
anything.
advisor is going to not like it.
No.
No, don't do precious metals. It's a rock that you pay people to stand around. You know, it's not a rock, it's a metal.
It's not even that. It's just a self-directed RA. They don't get paid anything. It doesn't matter what you choose to do with that self-directed RA. They still don't get paid anything, because it's up to you what you want to do with it. So it's your choice if you decide to do that.
And you don't have to do all of it.
No.
You know, portion.
Some people do.
And you do a portion that you're comfortable with, that you don't have to freak out about when the price goes down, because we don't know. As long as central banks have paper, like derivatives of gold and silver, they're going to be able to suppress the price of gold and silver. So as long as that's going on, there's no really telling. But I can't imagine going to the Thunderdome without some precious metals. You know, you keep a percentage in that, and you just kind of let it sit and hope you never have to use it.
I agree.
And there's always a buyer for it. You can always sell it.
I agree. So I want to move on to one more other thing that I've got. So I don't know if you guys have been hearing on the news, but about this immigration app that is you can get online, and it is causing a chaos at the border. So you guys, heads up, because apparently they can get online, and before they even reach the border, they can say, hey, I am claiming asylum. When they get to the border, they show that they've already applied through the app. They grant them access, and they say, okay, your court date's in, I think they're 10 years out now. And they allow them access. And so we just saw several people standing on the side with some signs.
Everywhere
and my
I
heart
go.
breaks them for them.
Everywhere I go, I see that.
That is what's happening right now with our border. There is an app. They said that was the way that they were going to fix immigration, was they were going to create an app. And it has caused apparently chaos and confusion.
It's the same thing that happened in Rome as it was falling. There was people moving to Rome, flooding with the new people as it was failing, as the people in charge were arguing if the angels were male or female. It's so wild. But it's just true to form that society's fallen. It's failing. The system's failing. And I've really been surprised on how well they've been able to hold it together. I give them kudos for that. That is, I thought it would have failed a long time ago. But so far, the immigration is a failure, 100%. You can move here. You can come here illegally, and you can participate. You can work. You can't drive.
You can pay taxes.
You got to pay taxes. We won't cart you back to your home if you pay taxes, but you can't drive. And you got all these strange limits that the other people don't have. So it kind of keeps them enslaved. It kind of keeps them down, or they can't really prosper. But still, this place is better than the place they came from.
Sometimes, most often they're not. Yeah. But anyway, there's an app. So if you hear about that on the news or whatever, and you kind of see what's going on, that's what it is. They've created Biden in their effort to streamline. They've created an app that they can actually access before they get to the border. And so that's apparently what's happening. It's causing a huge influx of
Democratic voters.
Well, people to cross the border.
Influx.
So one more thing, we're going to talk about the core inflation right now. So core inflation is it's different than the CPI. And that actually shows a little bit more where it's a little bit more legit. And they're talking about it right now, how it's a little higher. If you get online and you looked, I saw a chart the other day, and they're expecting mortgage rates to go at least 10%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk about assumable mortgages for just 5 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think everybody right now, you need to go research assumable mortgages. If you're thinking about buying a house, if you're thinking about doing real estate, if you're thinking about doing rental properties, look at assumable mortgages. The banks don't like them because they don't make any money off of them. I took a class here about 2 years ago because I wanted to learn about them. And I'm like, oh, wow. You have to kind of fight the banks, but there are ways
The
to
banks
do it.
don't make any money, so
Yep.
they're not going to want to do that.
Nope, but you can push them. You can make them do it. So if you
And
got,
if you've got a big influx of housing,
Yep.
you know, that they just want to get rid of and they just want the problem to go away, that you're more likely
they might
to get
consider it. Yep.
Mhm.
So what you have to do is you got to go to the bank and, well, the seller does, and just tell them, all right, hey, you guys, I've got a buyer, and then I want them to assume my mortgage. Now, the buyer is going to have to come up with some cash probably to offset the seller's cost to help them. You could have to work out a deal. You have to figure that out.
But it saves their credit too.
Saves the seller's credit also, but then you get a lower interest rate for the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you only have certain years to pay versus if you went and did a 30-year loan. So there's just a lot of benefits to this assumable mortgage. So you guys, it's just something just to put in the back of your head, start thinking about. Not saying do it now, but start researching it. It's a great tool, I think, to have in your kit.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. Get ready now. When time gets here, and it's time to really start jumping into the housing market to start buying rentals.
Yep.
And it's going to look ugly. It's going to look like you're catching a falling knife. Me and the Economic Ninja talk about this all the time because we both want to own a bunch of rental properties. But when it happens, is not the time to get ready. You need to get ready now.
Yep.
Get the information out. I have secured the how-to on the rental properties. I know how to do it. We acquired 6 in about a year and a half.
We need to actually do a video about that, about how we acquired the rental properties with 0% down. We need to do that. I've had so many people ask me.
I plan on doing a course on it because it is, so far, it's foolproof. It is, if you take the steps
and run the numbers,
screen the tenants, the whole 9 yards. We never missed a rent. We had 2 or 3 late rents that paid $100 extra for missing the time. So we actually made it out better. And we sold them at the top of the market as of right now. So far, so good on the rental properties. Is there anything else on the?
No, I tell you guys, look into the assumable mortgages. Even personally, if you're thinking about purchasing a home, just look into an assumable mortgage. That's something that people don't talk about. And it's not very often mentioned because lenders don't make any money off of it. And so just look into it.
And in the course, we'll talk about subject to as well. That's another alternative.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be creative ways in the Thunderdome to acquire properties. And there's a reason why Congress owns, real estate, because the rules are bent towards real estate. And, I can't think of a better write-off than having rental properties.
Yep. I agree. Well, I think that's all I've got for this crazy mixed bag of information for right now.
Mixed bag of it. Maybe I'll have that as the title. So, guys, have an awesome day. Thank you for being here. We'll catch you in the next one. Later.